Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death is all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has thou this time commanded. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, not confess all of my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for no grant protection against fault but thee. And guide me into the best of morals, for no guide to the best of morals but thou. And turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and indecent morals but thou. O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and we the true followers of Muhammad successful. Here in the wilderness of North America, is that they make Abraham and the true followers of Abraham. For show thy praise and magnify. O Allah, bless Muhammad, and we the true followers of Muhammad. Here in the wilderness of North America, thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham. For surely thou art praised and magnified here in thy midst. Amen. You may be seated. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and I further bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his last and greatest messenger. I'd like to greet Muhammad's Temple of Islam number 20 guests, friends, and family in the greeting words and peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. How's everyone doing? I am too, striving hard in the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want to thank Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad for allowing me another opportunity and allowing us another opportunity to come before you, to come before Camden City, to come before our people, to come before the Delaware Valley, South Jersey, and all those who are watching, whether you're on online or radio, whatever the case may be. We want to thank you for coming, for supporting us, for coming to hear what we have to say, for coming to hear what we believe, what the Muslims believe. Um, we want to thank you for coming, for listening, to come and have the capability and the ability to come listen to a message that is timely for you and I here in the wilderness of North America. So we want to thank Brother Minister. We want to thank him for his hard work. We want to thank Brother Minister for his sacrifice. We want to thank Brother Minister for his commitment. And we want to thank Brother Minister for his steadfastness as a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All right, so let's give Brother Minister a well-deserved round of applause. Please, please. Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad deserves it. Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad worked tirelessly. He works tiresome. He works hard. He works day and night, morning. I'm pretty sure this brother, he gets phone calls from the time he wakes up in the morning for prayer. I mean, sometimes Brother Minister be woken up out his sleep, right? For solutions, right? From problem solving, right? Oh, there go that word. You're gonna hear that word problem solving from me quite a few times. Because we understand the black man, we need a solution, and we definitely have a problem to solve. Right? If you look at every black community who look like you and I, who look like me and you, with a wide nose, big eyes, big lips, we know that there is a problem in the black community, right? And it's time that we stop looking outside of ourselves to solve our problems, right? And so this is why we invite you. We invite you to Muhammad's Temple of Islam number 20, so we can talk about these things, so we can have a conversation about our problems, right? So we can talk about the black family. We can talk about politics. We can talk about agriculture or the food source that where we get our food from, or where we eating from, right? We can talk about our problem with the lack thereof with black men, right? We could talk about the problems with black women, right? Right? We could be amongst our own and had these candid conversations, so we can have these problems, so we can problem solve together, right? We don't gotta worry about asking Donald Trump for a handout, right? We don't gotta worry about asking the Secretary of Education how to educate our babies, right? We don't gotta worry about asking the preacher, right, who takes our money, right, and say you're gonna die to get up into some sky, right? And he takes your money and put nothing back into your community, right? So therefore, we want to thank Brother Minister for this opportunity, to have this platform, to have this sanctuary, to have this for you and I, so we can come and talk about these problems, right? Many of us may experience a whole lot. Many of us may experience life. We may experience problems And whatever the case may be, with different scenarios that we went through with our parents, with people, whatever the case may be, whatever it brings pain, it brings joy, it brings success, positive or negative, right? We have a place of refuge to come, right? And that's why we thank Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad once again for the lights to be on, because you got to pay, right? For this sanctuary to be warm, you got to pay, right? Right, and for these doors to be open, for a brother to be committed like that, independently, that is, I think that deserves a well-deserved round of applause because we don't see leadership like that in the black community no more, right? So let's give Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad another round of applause because he deserves it. All right, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad deserves it. Where do you know where you could go and get some food, some soul food, right? Where do you know that you see an operating system that look somebody that look like you and I and that's sacrificing a lot to be open so you can have a place, so you can have a place, a refuge, right? Eating well, right? Right? Sitting well, sitting amongst your own with peace, sitting amongst your own with a peace of mind, right? Where you can shop amongst your own, right? You can worship amongst your own, right? Where can you go a place like that within the black community? You can't. I'm sorry to say. Unless they serving you pork chops, ham, right? Some things we know that's not good for you, right? But we know black people are gonna flock to it, right? I'm pretty sure we say if we say come listen to some LeBron James, right? LeBron James is gonna be here. You wanna be able to get in here if LeBron James is here, right? But we know he's a so-called American Negro, right? So we thank you for coming. We thank you for being here. And I just want to explain certain things. If this is your first time here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, at a Nation of Islam meeting, as you see when you walked into these doors, you were searched, right? And don't feel bad. We all get searched, right? Everybody, every brother or sister in here, they get searched, and it's not just for your protection. It's for everybody well-being. And anywhere you go, when you go on vacation, you go into a different country, they have search procedures, right? You go to the Dominican Republic, you go to Africa, you go to Puerto Rico, you go to Hawaii, any nation or any nation or race of people that you go amongst, they have a search procedure. So that's teaching us, you and I, of who we are, and it's a teaching that you too are a nation. You too should look at yourself as a nation. How you should look at the black man and woman, you should look at yourself as the Elijah Muhammad teaches us that every time you look at a black man and woman, you're looking at God. So it's the way that we don't look at. It is a way so we won't look at each other in a self-hating way, the way how we look at each other to this very day, right? If you see the so-called American Negro, we've been to parties, right? We've been in public schools, right? How many times we've seen a few Negroes and Negroes look at each other and they hate each other for no reason? You're like, what are you beefing for? Why don't you like this person? Right? Or even you walking in the mall, right? You might feel uncomfortable around when black people come around, right? You be like, these niggas, they're gonna start something right now, they're gonna riot, they're gonna mess something up. We know Cherry Hill Mall, right? Now they changed the policy. You if you're 18 and younger, you gotta have a parent with you. They catch you that if you don't have a parent or a legal guardian with you, they're gonna call your parents, right? And that's only with black and brown children, right? So we get it, we get it. But the reason why we have search procedure is that we cross our T's and dot our I's. And it's only, as I stated before, that this is a place of refuge. This is a peaceful place. This is a place where you can come and you can lower your guard down amongst your own. We're not going to rob. We're not going to rob you. We're not going to steal from you. You can bring your significant other. You can bring your daughter. You can bring your son. You can bring your family. Right? We telling you that come on home amongst your own, and you can feel at peace. And that's all that what Islam is. Islam ain't no prayers that we say. Islam ain't because we wear a hijab. Islam ain't no cultural references that because we come from a different culture, they want to establish it to Islam. No, Islam just means total submission to the will of God, and Islam just means peace. So when you come amongst Muslims, you're gonna feel peace, right? For all the chaos that we go through, with all the tyranny, with all the madness and the confusion and the stress that we go through. But when you come among the Muslims, you're gonna feel peace. So that's one of the reasons why we search, why we go through search procedure, because we don't allow anything of that world or anything of the white man's world, not let alone nothing as small as a penknife, right? We don't allow nothing come into this sanctuary. Nothing. No bottles, no knives, no guns, no cigarettes, marijuana, no nothing. But I got a medical card. Can't bring it in here, right? Can't bring it in here, right? So, and then as you see, we sit separately, right? We have the sister sitting on one side, we have the brother sitting on the next, right? I know the brother bringing his wife, and it's a brother that it's another brother that look like Idris Elba. You're gonna be looking like, oh, hold up, he ain't sitting next to my wife, right? You have a Chris Brown, you're gonna be looking, you ain't gonna be paying attention to what's going on, what's coming on over this roster, because you got Idris Elba over there looking fine, looking sharp. You got your wife here. You hold on, right? Because you got some brothers and sisters that's insecure about themselves, right? So that's why we have brothers sitting on side posts. We got sisters on posts because we understand that, right? We under, once again, I talk about problem solving, the solution now. You understand? We got to get into real talk. Everything up here on Muhammad's roster at Muhammad's temple, we're going to get into reality. We're not going to give you a mystery or song or dance. We're definitely going to tell you when you die, you're going to go off into some heaven. You're going to be righteous. Right? God is just going to accept you and all your sins, and all of a sudden you're going to be righteous. No. That's not how this works. Right? So we sit separately. As I stated before, it's peace. So you're going to be the most respected and you're going to be the most protected person. Black woman, black man, black, no gender specific role. We ain't doing that. Right? Right? If you're a black woman, you're going to be respected. If you're a black man, you're going to be respected. And that's how we are. That's how we operate. And let's let you know we are a nation within a nation. They was letting you know that we are your brother. Truly, we are your brother and we are your sister. Right? We ain't the brother that's gonna pat sisters in the back if we don't know you. You ain't gonna find a brother trying to talk, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Not in this house. Right? If we find that, if we see that, that brother might be thrown out. Right? You might see the brothers on go. Right? So therefore, this is the house. This is the house of Muhammad's temple. I just wanted to lay those ground rules to show you that you might see some of these what these brothers moving for, what these sisters moving for. You might see something a little bit different, right? You might see your people operating different. You might see the sisters or brothers in front of you just standing still on post, but you be like, but why aren't they moving? Right? Right? So if this is your first time, don't feel unease. Please feel as comfortable as possible and feel at peace. Right? So as I move further along, you're going to be listening to a timely message as a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is a man that you probably never even heard of, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is a name you might think is a foreign name, a foreigner, right? But we want to tell you that there was a man who was raised amongst us. It was raised amongst you with the same history, the same loins, the same the type embodiment of the family, adjacent of the same type of family problems that we go through, right? There is a man in history who our open enemies probably won't tell you about, right? Or even our Pan African brothers and African history or whatever. They probably not going to tell you about this man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? So for the first time in your life, you're going to hear about a man who looked like you and I, that was raised among us and upon us, of a man who worked 44 years among us, of a history and the accomplishments that you will be, it will blow your mind, right? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad spent 44 years amongst us, who was raised by another man, right? It's going to be a different language now, right? I know if you grew up in the church in the masjid, you're gonna hear things. You probably heard them say things, and you probably like, okay, this is totally contrary to what I believe and to what grandma me, or grandma, or grandpa, my grandparents may have taught me, right? Right? But we here to tell you at Muhammad's Temple of Islam number 20, we here to put away religion. We here to put that away. Right? As we are taught as students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life. When you submitting yourself to do the will of God, if I ask you if you were a Christian, if I ask you, do you submit your will to do the will of God? You probably hear that in the church. God's will. We're doing God's will. You're going to see that you are going to see that that you are a Muslim. That is another name. So as I see out there, Sister Nora, as I lay the greater ground rules, so you can feel that peace, right? Now, there's always, when it comes to peace, there's a balance to it, right? You're just not going to hear from a man to say, oh, that man, he's just talking, right? Men talk all day, they manipulate, they do all that, right? Right? So as I laid some of the rules to make you feel safe and some of the operating movements so you won't feel at ease, you see the militancy part, my dear brothers and sisters, you are at home. So as I bring on our dear sister Noor, let's bring on with a well-deserved round of applause as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. How's the family? All praise are due to Allah. In the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful God, we bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and we are so grateful and indebted to Allah for coming and for raising the most honorable Elijah Muhammad as a leader, teacher, and a guide to the Black man and Black woman in America. And it is in their great names that I greet you all with the greetings of peace of Assalamu alaikum. How is everybody? All praise are due to Allah. I too feel fine. I'm excited, as you can tell. This is a very special time for us in the Nation of Islam as we are here gathered, not just for our Sunday meeting, but also to commemorate Savior's Day. Although today is not Savior's Day is Thursday, but we are commemorating that day today together as a community. So I'm grateful to everyone who came for that. I want to thank Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad for this opportunity to be here and to stand before you just for a few moments. I think you can look at Brother Lieutenant Kadir and myself kind of as the appetizers, right? You get your soup and your salad, and then you get your entree. So our entree will be coming out momentarily, and I'm just going to share some things with you in the brief time before. But first, let us give Brother Lieutenant Kadir Muhammad a strong, strong round of applause. We are so grateful for Brother Lieutenant's leadership and his perseverance and the example that he is to young Black men here in the city of Camden, Camden County, and abroad. I am Sister Nora Muhammad. I have been a member of Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 20, since 1994, although 1995 is when I became registered. Sister Queen, that's when I wrote my letter and recited in 95. But I first visited in 94. And the reason why I visited is because upon entering into my apartment at college, before the fall semester began, I was in a program called EOF, program for students like me who were broke and who needed assistance and special attention. And I met Sister Shabri Muhammad in that EOF program. We were roommates in that college apartment. And I was downstairs in the lobby one day waiting for my grandmother to bring me a care package, right? Meaning food and money and milk and whatever else I needed. And as I was sitting in the lobby, this car pulled up outside and two Black men got out in suits. Now, it's a Sunday on a college campus in the summer. So it's not a lot of activity. So you notice everything. So that was a little bit odd. And one brother stayed by the car and opened the rear passenger door. And the other brother was walking into the lobby where I was seated. I'm thinking, now, what is going on here? Now listen, I saw Coming to America, and I remember how they treated the royal prince, but what is this? You know what I'm saying? So the gentleman comes in, and he goes to the house phone that you use to call the different room. And the man said, Sister Shabri, I'm downstairs. And I thought, now my roommate is named Sister Shabri. Must be another Shabri here. And don't you know my roommate came downstairs? And I'm like, I don't know this man. Like, where are you going with this strange man? Now, at this point, we were already into, spending some time together and having conversations. And, I don't know this man. And she says, oh, I'm going to the mosque. Would you like to go? And I said, well, I'm waiting for my grandmother to bring me my care package, but I'll go with you next week. And I came here to this building, and I will say my life was absolutely changed from the moment I walked in. Now, just as Sophia Petrillo would say, picture this, 1994. Now, those of us who saw the Malcolm X movie, you remember the scene in the movie when Shorty was in the audience and Malcolm was teaching, right? That's what I walked into. I walked in this room, and it was like a replica. It was like a set, the same scene. And that was the first thing that caught me. Now, I didn't have any experience with Islam. I grew up further down in South Jersey in a rural town across the street from Peach Orchard, predominantly white. Grew up Christian, going to church, Methodist, Baptist, wherever my aunts would take me. I believed in Jesus Christ. I didn't accept him as my Lord and Savior because I had a self-esteem problem and I was too afraid to go up to the altar call, So I would go to sleep that Sunday night and pray to Jesus. I'll go next week, I promise. Just don't let me die in my sleep because I don't want to go to hell. True story. So I grew up going to the church, had no experience with Islam. And so I come in, back up. The only experience I had with Islam was Minister Farrakhan on Arsenio Hall show. Okay, so y'all know what I'm talking about. So I come in and, I knew Islam was a religion, but it was something that the Arabs did in the East. Who are these Negroes in this building talking about this Islam and Muhammad? I had never seen such a thing. And Sister Shabri, my college roommate, didn't say anything about Islam at the time. We were still kind of getting to know each other. And I came in and I learned the history of Black people in America. Now, I grew up in a predominantly white town. And anywhere we go, we know the dynamic. Black is at the bottom and white is on top, right? I knew about Dr. King and fighting for rights and wanting to be loved by white people. I didn't understand why they would kill him if he wanted to be loved by them. I thought, well, he's got to be a good Black man, one that they would accept. He didn't say anything bad about him. He wasn't controversial like Malcolm X. Why did they kill Dr. King? So, I'm trying to figure out my place in a predominantly white town, learning Christianity with the white Jesus. Now, I know on Good Times, JJ painted Ed DeWino as Jesus, but that was just TV and comedy, right? But I come here, and the minister's talking about Jesus and his hair like lamb's wool. Now, I'd never heard that in church. Now, I knew growing up, I had hair like lamb's wool that we fervently and arduously tried to change. Because in the picture, Jesus didn't have hair that looked like lamb's wool, right? And then I hear about his skin looking like, brass burned in the oven. Now I'm a certain complexion, right? That isn't what the preacher told me about Jesus in the church. And I would go to Sunday school and I would ask questions and they would say, listen, you just got to have faith. And I would think, but I'm trying to, but I need something to have faith in. And in short order, upon coming into this building and listening to the minister talk, not preach, the ministers in Islam teach. Now, I was on a college campus. I was also in classrooms being taught. And to come and to experience in a religious house kind of an academic conversation, nothing I ever experienced. I come from them churches where, they got I was going to say the band. What did they call the choir? They got the choir, and they jamming, they're rocking, the sister, elders over in the corner getting the spirit. I always wanted to get the spirit. And I used to think, Jesus just it's just not connected. Because they would be going at it, then they put the circle, the arms around them, and they would be going through all of those motions. And I wanted to be full of the spirit. I did, with everything in me. But was I defective? Was I deficient in some way? And I sat here and I listened. I understood the sociology of Black people. I understood the psychology of Black people. I understood the economic disadvantage of Black people and how that came to be, the self-esteem Black people had, the white supremacy that was in our minds. I learned all of this. And I remember thinking, you mean to tell me there's been answers to our problems all this time and nobody told me? Questions that I hadn't even fathomed to ask, questions I didn't know I should be asking. And some of those questions that I had deep down in my heart that I didn't have the confidence to ask, maybe because in the church they told me to stop asking questions and have faith, those questions were answered. And then I felt resentful. You mean to tell me this has been here all this time? And in my 18 years of life, dealing with the highs and lows of being a Black girl that wants to feel special outside of what they tell us to be special about in the music video. You know what I'm saying? Because, 1994, we got Luke, right? Y'all know who some of y'all know who Luke is. Janet Jackson, I wanted to be in control. You know what I'm saying? But it was elusive. It wasn't accessible to me until I came and heard the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Learning to love my Black self, not just because it's some rhetoric or some Black pride talk, but because Black is first. Black comes before anything, right? And it's so crazy because I had biology class and I learned about dominant and recessive, but the teacher didn't tell me, sister or Black child, that means you're the dominant. And we, because I mostly had white teachers, we're the recessive. They didn't put it like that. The Punnett squares that we had in biology class, that was just something scientific, but it didn't translate into real life. When we come and hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and we're taught to love ourselves because we're Black, because Black is best, because Black is first, it's not hype talk. We're getting plain science. Science. You show me how you're going to produce Black out of some white paint. But you can get white out of Black, can't you? So finally, I was connected to something true. Finally, I was connected to something real. And fortunately, I'm looking at all of these beautiful sisters in white and our guest here, and now you are connected to it too. Something real, something that we can take with us. Because listen, I had also been to plenty of Black history programs, and I see the people in their dashikis, the red, black, and green, they wearing kufis, you're not even Muslim. You got the ankh, you don't know what that stands for. And the kente cloth, you don't know if that should be a head wrap or a skirt or if it's just for married women or widows. We don't know the symbolism. We just want to be connected to something special and meaningful. But we were not told that you already are because you're connected to the Creator. Because if Black came first and the Creator is all that authored what is first, then the Creator created us. And we are part of creation. We weren't connected to that. And so now I'm sitting here and I'm hearing these teachings and I'm like, this sounds right. This sounds right. But you heard me when I opened up and I said, Allah appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Now the minister said that too. And I thought, all right, now listen, I grew up loving Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. And I wanted to go to heaven. And I'm like, you know what? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that economic teaching, on point. That social teaching, on point. That psychology teaching, on point, right? The conduct and how we can eat better, all of that on point. Now this God thing, hold on a minute. And so I got to thinking about all that I had been taught growing up and how what I had been taught didn't align with what I knew to be real, right? For example, I was taught that there were angels that are just like floating around. Right? Now, we saw the movie Ghost, right? They weren't happy to see a ghost or spirits floating around talking, did they? Right? I also grew up on Casper. Now, that didn't align with what I knew to be real, what I experience and everybody around me experience every day. The idea that God can be a man, like a real man, like a man. But we were trained to believe that a God that's a spirit would be concerned with the affairs of people who are material, of the the water cycle that's physical and material, that a hydrogen and oxygen, and you bring those things together and you can get water. Now that's physical. Listen, carbon monoxide is a gas, right? But it's physical, and if we inhale too much of it, it'll physically take our life. Now everything is physical except that which created us. You see that disconnect? But as I got to thinking and pondering on it, I realized that that is also part of the slavery teaching that we got on the plantation. For us to look to a heaven in the sky while we're picking this real cotton, picking this real tobacco, suffering this real humiliation and these real killings with real empty bellies, with our real children being sold off into slavery, with women being violated by real men, slave owners. But when we serve our masters with obedience, we're going to go on to yonder. Are white people going to be in yonder? What's our experience going to be with white people in yonder? So the teaching and the education that we got through religion is a vehicle. I'm going to share something with you that I came across that Margaret Sanger wrote. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, a feminist. I'm going to share what she said. The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. We don't want word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out the idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members. Remember, she said that the most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. Religion is just a vehicle. On the plantation, it was a vehicle to get us picking that cotton and tobacco, because we didn't want to go to a hell that they told us we're going to burn forever. You ever burn anything? It's going to burn forever. Like, so science is different in hell, like science is different in heaven, right? Neil Armstrong didn't say, when I went out there, I saw heaven, so y'all better do right, right? Archaeologists didn't dig in there and say, oh, we had to stop because we got to hell. The most successful educational approach is through religion for the Negro, because religion is a vehicle. It's a vehicle to get us ideas, and the minister is the one best qualified to deliver our message to the slaves. So we have to be careful about the minister. The minister on the plantation was that person that they chose who was an obedient slave, who was a cooperative slave. You go teach the rest of them, because we don't have time for it. The minister, the person bringing the message, the person that's bringing our people the message matters. So where are we getting our messaging from? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the church, the temple, the masjid, TV commercials. We are constantly being messaged to. As we heard Dr. Powers in his amazing presentation on Friday tell us that 21 times, if we get a message to the Negro 21 times, they're going to begin to believe it and act out on that messaging, right? Act out on it. So we have to be careful of the message and the one giving the message. So here we have someone that's delivering the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of God. Our minister is Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. And in all of the years that I've known Brother Minister, he was here when I came in 1994. He has stuck to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wants us to know for our people. You know, in that earlier video or audio that we were listening to with Minister Farrakhan, he talked about, you know, a person being poor, but being a great person and having a message. And they want to keep that person poor so you can't manifest the message. We can't just have smart people. Or we can't just have rich people. We need smart people to have the means to manifest something. Because we've had ministers teaching us things, but they don't manifest it. You want to tell me about a heaven that you can't show me, minister, but I'm going to expect it when I die, and I can't come back and say, I was robbed. I want my tithes back. I want my donations back. We can't hold you to account. But when we have someone that has a message and is able to manifest that message, we're sitting in the manifestation of a message. Right here at Temple number 20. Our children showed us yesterday the physical reality of educating our children in the way of self-love and do for self and be yourself. We saw a beautiful presentation. That happens in the classroom. At the University of Islam, we have to be able to have someone that can manifest the message. The preacher didn't do that on the plantation. That preacher was the one deputized by the slave master to give us the message that is his for his purpose. Now, who's going to be deputized to give us the message from God for his purpose in our service to God? And so that's why we invited you out, because we need a new message today. And we need someone that's qualified to give us the message. And we believe that person is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because the Bible, we read it, but sometimes we don't understand it. We're supposed to have a warner from ourselves, a messenger from ourselves, right? Like Moses delivered a message to his people. He didn't go somewhere else and deliver a message. He brought a message to his people. And I am here with a message of good news that we have a messenger from our people. And this minister that just walked out on this stage is that brother that is the minister to deliver the message of our messenger. He does so much in the city. We're so proud of the work that he does in his leadership. Let's bring a welcome brother minister here to the microphone with a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you for listening. I leave you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Let's give Sister Nora a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you, Sister Nora. And let's thank Brother Kadir Muhammad for opening it up and keeping everything warm. Thank you all. In the most holy name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. We can't thank him enough for coming and raising in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, who received the message from God in the person. Our job and role today is to tell you what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about his experience with this man and what this man asked him or told him to tell you and I. It is in their great names that I greet you with the greetings of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. How's everyone? All praises due to Allah. Thank you all. And this is the end of our Savior's Day weekend, we like to call it. But let's make it absolutely clear that Savior's Day is Thursday, February the 26th, which is the birth anniversary of the man, as I mentioned earlier, who is the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. And if you keep listening to us and take a moment, we can prove it to you. But the way we can prove it to you is the same way we measure men and women. We measure men and women based off of results, right? If we say a sister is beautiful, fine, or whatever, whatnot about a woman, we say that based on her results of how she look, what she does, what she do, things that are physical or things that she say. The same way with a man. We measure a man not only on what they say, we measure a man based on what he does, right? If I, as I always say, if I talk about my basketball career, my first name is Magic, my middle name is Jordan, and my last name is James, right? But I played more like Jerry Lewis, Steve Urkel. Nah, I'm just joking. But you get my point of what I'm trying to say about how we talk about ourselves. But what we do in the action of what one does is based on results. So the results of this man coming, we measure it by the man whom he raised from the dead. A black man born in Sanderville, Georgia in the late 1800s, 1877. 70, right? Correct? I'm getting mixed up. It was 1879. 77. Okay, I know all the Muslims here, A dead black man, spiritually dead, made blind, deaf, and dumb, just like most of us who were brought here, robbed of our names, our culture, our religion, and the experiences that we had with a taskmaster that the scriptures describes as Pharaoh and his henchmen. We can describe them as the Klan, the Aryan nation, white folk, anything you want to give them. The European, the colonizer, whatever you want to do. These are the people who tormented us and put us in the condition that we find ourselves in. This was Messenger Elijah Muhammad. You know about many of his students and their experience, right? You know about Malcolm X. You know about the life of Muhammad Ali being a boxer and a young boxer growing up, winning the Olympics and all those kind of things and becoming the world heavyweight champion and declaring himself, as we like to say, as reclaiming his own, or you say joining the Nation of Islam, which before we leave here, we're going to tell you, you can never join the Nation of Islam. You can reclaim your own. You can't join something that you already a member of. That's your nature. And if you give us a few minutes, we'll explain that to you. But I want to get back to a man proclaiming something of who another man is. This is why when our enemy gave us religion, they gave us a spook God, a God that we couldn't touch. And if you woke up and figured out if you can touch a God, they gave you a picture of Michelangelo's nephew or cousin. Because if you woke up a little bit and you wanted to find the reality of the God that you was talking about, our enemy made sure that you would look and glorify them. So these things you already know. And if you don't know it, we have to tell you. And that's why mosque, temple, edifices like Crow, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, will always be necessary, because once you build institutions of higher learning, we're right across the river in Philadelphia. There's University of Pennsylvania, right? There's St. Joe's University in Philly. Here in South Jersey, there's Rowan University. Over in Philly, you still got Temple University. All of these great universities that when the people graduate and get their degrees, whether it's a undergraduate degree, whether it's a master's degree, whether it's a doctorate's degree, when they get it, they don't tell you that the University of Pennsylvania is no longer necessary. The University of Pennsylvania will always be necessary because there's other coming behind us who need the university. And that's why it's so important today how we message things publicly to people, because we may be dissatisfied, had a bad experience at our university, had a bad experience at our church, mosque, or temple, but in particular, temple or mosque, we can never talk about mosque and temple. It's never not necessary. I say to the public, how are you going to raise your children? What institution are you going to bring them in that they can take it to the next level and become greater than you and I? So it would always be necessary. Yes, we have to bring it up to the modern times, but it would always be necessary. To some of you out, young people that I'm looking at in the audience right now who are not parents right now, right? You're going to have to one day raise your children. And if you don't put your work and space and time into building up institutions of higher learning for yourself, because you help to build up institutions, meaning the bricks of others. And ever since we've been allowed to go to those universities and institutions, it may have made out for us individually, but how is it making out for us as a people? So we better think like Messenger Elijah Muhammad told us to think about building institutions of our own, of higher learning. So it will always be necessary. And I'm starting there before I get in my lecture to talk about the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. For those of you who may not know who that is and what they are the National Archives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam. They preserve the history, the legacy, the greatness of Messenger Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. They are not a mosque. They are not a temple. Yet, all foundations of truth is built on the same principles. But they are an institution that is dedicated to preserving mosque temples. And I remember when I met them some 17 years ago, almost 20 years ago, some of the brothers around me were saying, well, they were confused about my relationship with this organization. They were saying, well, aren't mosques and temples supposed to be the remembrance of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam? I said, yeah, it was. I thought that too. But different things go on in a mosque and temple. That is the foundation of mosques and temples, but yet an institution dedicated to preserving Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teaching is just what it is to say, it is to do. It's to strengthen mosques or temples. It's to give mosques and temples, because when the structure of the temple is to train and individuals that are in the temple and train them to go out and raise up other males and females and bring them to the temple so that they too can be trained. But when you're trying to develop, impress, bring over a so-called American Negro, today I'm going to say a so-called African American, you may have to implode some things on yourself a little bit. Because we've been filled with so much hatred of ourselves, so much dislike and jealousy and envy from the slave plantation, that we're going to sometimes, when that job and that task is necessary, bump heads. And when you know there's going to be issues when people are going to bump heads and think things are all right. You have to have what we call structure. And the structure in the Nation of Islam, the structure is what we call military structure, because when you have those kind of clashes and personality clashes and egos and undeveloped people and all kind of things that brings about a mosque, a temple, and people coming to an organization, coming to church, mosque, or temple. When you have all that, you need structure. And what made the Nation of Islam one of the most successful Black organizations, if you want to call it religious organization, is because of his structure. Because his structure was military. The enemy call it militant, but they know you're going to go straight talking about guns and fighting and whatnot and Black Panthers and all this stuff. You're going to hurt somebody. You ain't going to hurt nobody but yourself. But that's not what militant is, if you really study what militant is. So you need that kind of structure. And you say, how could what do you mean? More successful than the Black church? That ain't yours. You in it, but that ain't yours. I'm sorry, my Christian brothers and sisters, that's not yours. That was set up by others. You in it now. That's why you can't claim the city you in. That you may be the mayor of, the commissioner of, or the representative of. It's not yours, but you in it. You in the seat, but you can't claim it. That's why, when our dear brother, President Barack Obama, became president, he had to immediately tell you, I'm just not the president of Black folk. And he was telling the truth. He was the president of the United States of America. So he couldn't speak to you. He couldn't speak or do what many of us so-called Black consciousness wanted him to do, because that wasn't his institution that he was the president of. So that's why I can't claim you, my Christian brothers, who did a wonderful work in developing the Southern Black churches, along with Dr. King and others, and late Jesse Jackson, who we definitely honor his legacy and his strength that he had and longevity. We can say, like so many others have not done, that brother died on his post, fighting for our people. I just know I hope to be like that. I can settle on the best part. So let me get back to, because I want to get into my subject, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because I see some new faces in here. I'm getting off on what this is supposed to be about. And I want to so much teach to them. I bring up this Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because many of you know my relationship with this organization, and it was a relationship with the co-founders, and particularly the late brother Munir Muhammad, who was in fact a mentor of mine. I was so very fortunate to speak with him every day. I was so very fortunate, sister, you can bring me that to brother. I was so very fortunate to speak with him every day, have conversations with him every day, receive instructions from him every day, to share wisdom with him every day. And one of the greatest teachings of Brother Munir was his work ethic, second to none. And I'm very strong on work ethics because I, as a former college basketball player, it was a lot of people who were talented and way more talented than me. They have scored more points than me and did things than me. But I allowed basketball to take me out of the city of Camden, earn me an education and an experience that was second to none. That was because of my work ethic. So I draw the people with good work ethics. If you want to get me excited, I don't care how non-talented you are or talented you are, and whatever the case may be, I pay attention to work ethic because I know work ethic is what's going to make you successful, male or female. Because if you don't have, you can have all the talent in the world. If you don't have great work ethic, you're gonna sell yourself short. So that was one of the greatest attributes to that brother, because if you ever travel to Chicago, and I have Brother Jamil here, my brother and friend, who is the son of our dear brother, with me on this stage. If you ever travel to, Chicago with Brother Munir, boy, you better put your working shoes on and you better go to work, because you'll be all day and every day. So in his absence, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still, this purpose is still the same. The work ethic has been taken upon about through brothers and sisters that are keeping the work ethic going and going and going. But as we want to say, post Brother Munir, one of the other intriguing things is how his family has stepped up. Listening, family? How his family stepped up to honor, because he has such beautiful and great work ethic. And you had to know him and love him to be around him, because he was my kind of guy. If I was just talking to my brothers, I could say something else. He was my kind of guy, because he didn't give 2 cents about how you felt about the truth. When he brought you close to him, now we'll panter you and all that kind of stuff when you whatever. But boy, when you close to people like that, that's not how men and great women are trained. If you look at the U.S. military, we may have a lot of negativity things to say about this country, but America is the mightiest nation on this country, in this world, not in this world, but on this planet. Be careful about how we say about this world, because we're going to teach you about another world that you don't know about. And it's because they're military. They're training. Hear that word again? Training. The training that they give to people in the military, even when they're so-called non-active, they have to go in every month and do something in this training to be a reserve, to stay and involved and be a part of something. We that word doing again, and I'm the verb, action. Continue to do something. And that's what makes America great. But let me say this before I finish what I'm saying. I know we have a lot of people who fight in politics for the rights of all people. I know a few of them, white and black, great people, wonderful people. But because Donald Trump has given us a slogan, "Make America Great Again," I noticed that a lot of people in fighting Donald Trump, sometimes they say, America has always been great. We don't know what Donald Trump is talking about. I want to humbly say to you, that's offensive to black folk. I know others around you ain't going to tell you, but I have to tell you because I got to tell the truth, especially if I hear something and have to respond. So I have to use the avenue to say that again. That is offensive to Black folk. If you say that, even though your intentions is not to hurt us, because when you fighting sometimes, you got an opponent. Anybody ever break up a fight before? This generation don't fight a lot. They take out the guns but when we fought, people let you fight for a minute. Then your friends come in. That's enough. That's enough. He got the best of you. Whatever. I was in a few fights. I was glad they broke up. Poindexter, I'm talking to you. People in the temple know about Poindexter. I was picking on Poindexter. I'm trying to be a bully. And Poindexter got enough of me on the basketball court, boy, and Poindexter put something on me. And my friends broke it up. I was glad they broke it up. They laughed at me to the day. The joke is, you remember Poindexter, don't you? Yeah, I remember Poindexter. I was glad they broke up that fight because I didn't know Poindexter could fight. I thought Poindexter's fight game was like his name. And it wasn't, right? But I want to say that's offensive. So when you break up a fight, sometimes you get hit. All right. Whoa, you can get hit. So I know you fighting Donald Trump and his slogan of "Make America Great Again." President Trump, is conscious about what he's doing. I don't think you're conscious about what you're doing. And if you're not, the Nation of Islam, and we are here always to help make not only Black America conscious, we challenge the conscience of white America and all of America. That is offensive to Black folks when you say America has always been great. For who, we would say. I can speak for our people. America didn't start off great for us. Of people who were in chains, who were kidnapped and robbed, and then brought here for 400 years, made to pick cotton and tobacco and whippings and beatings and rapings and all of those kind of things. I don't think that was ever great for us. So we just humbly ask you to be mindful of us as you being mindful for other people. And I know sometimes that our people around you, they got so many challenges in front of them, they can't always tell you. But Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad is the title, brother. I'm going to try to be your brother and pull your coat. We always try to correct in the best of manners. So I just want to say that publicly to people. All right, just something to think about. And now you know, let's see how you respond to the truth. Isn't that right? All praise is due to Allah. Getting back to the remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Brother Munir Muhammad and Crow, the organization. I'm here before I finish my subject matter, because it's not going to be long, to honor a sister who came through the ranks of the Nation of Islam, supporting her husband back in the early 70s. She's a gem. And when you support men in organizations who have missions, that's special kind of women. Because if you that woman that, and sisters, we know how we have made you, that God made you to want attention. It's your nature. We just want our sisters to have the right attention. Am I right? When y'all say that now to some of you older, some of the young ones may not know that. And these sisters today do anything for attention, yeah? I mean, they on Instagram and Socialgram and Metagram or Telegram. I don't know what these things is. Boy, they looking for all kind of attention. And you get it too. but yet you still looking for a man because you get the wrong kind of attention. 'Cause us fools gonna look, but that ain't the kind of attention you want, sister. These kind of women make sacrifices, brother, because the man has a mission. Ain't no woman gonna make no sacrifice for you if you ain't got no mission. If you ain't got no mission, her nature gonna make her make it all about her, and you gonna lose because she's powerful, brother. She's powerful in every kind of way, especially the ones that know themselves. So I want to take this opportunity to stop for just a second and bring up here on this roster. Every year here at Temple Number 20, we honor a Sister of the Year. And I don't know no greater honor, Brother Jamil, to give to the Sister of the Year except to Sister Amina Muhammad. Sister Amina, would you please come on up? Brother Jamil, you want to help me with this to your mother? Sister Agina, you want to come up or you want to do? Oh, you want to do that? I want people.
Come on over here so that your daughter can see you clearly.
I just 1 second. I just want to be able to, Sister Amina, for me personally, because her daughter, Sister Agina Muhammad, is here in Camden, New Jersey. Of course, Brother Jamil Muhammad is here. And I am just honored to have you support a young brother minister like myself, whom your late husband loved so much. And I can tell the love that he had for me because of the essence and expression of the love that I get from you, Brother Jamil and Sister Agina. And I'm just honored that when Brother Minister was going through his trials, Sister Amina was there, as a counsel. Brother Jamil was there. Sister Agina and their family and members of Crow was there to give counsel. And when you're going through something of trauma, or we like to say, it's not necessarily trauma, I'm just telling you who are listening in the audience, but as a Muslim, do you think we'll be left alone on saying we believe and not be tried like those who believe before us? That is incumbent among the Muslim. And the greater you can become, or we can become, the greater the trial. And this sister was strong. And it comes from her training. The way she lived, the way she supported her husband, the way she raised her children, helped raise her grandchildren, and the support of her husband's mission. Because nobody was there. Boy, you know how cold it is in Chicago? It looked cold on that video. It wasn't snow. It looked like snow, but it was ice. And Sister Amina was holding that camcorder while Brother Munir was going out, starting and beginning the essence. But you'll hear a little bit about the essence of Crow in a minute. But she was here. She was there. And I'm honored, Sister Amina, on behalf of the MGT and GCC, 2026. Sister Amina, thank you for Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 20, under the administration. All these people like these titles. Got something to say about these titles in a minute. Of Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, February 22nd, 2026. You want to say something? Please, absolutely.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, I speak of no other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet my sisters and brothers with the greetings of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Oh, this is really a surprise to me and an honor that Muhammad Temple number 20 is always keeping Crow alive, and I consider it as Crow 2 in Camden, New Jersey, because I remember years ago my husband was lost, and he called Brother Wazim, and they met him, and he told me, Amina, I just met brothers who remind me of when we came into the Nation of Islam, and they came and they got us and they treated us like real brothers. And I must say, I love the sisters and brothers here at Muhammad Temples of Islam number 20, although I love all my brothers and sisters. But when I first visited here, it was like the first time I visited Mosque number 2 in Chicago, as Sister Nora was talking about her first visit. Well, my first visit, I just thought I had gone to heaven, because I saw the brothers open up the doors for the sisters, and I saw the sisters in the white uniforms and the brothers. And Munir told me the search procedure that I would have to go through. And the first time I went to the mosque, Minister Yusuf Shaw and Dr. Salam was teaching on heaven and hell. It's not a place, but heaven and hell is here on earth. And I accepted the first day, although Munir had been going a couple of Sundays. And he said, why did you go up there and shake their hands? I say, because all of the questions that I always asked myself and wondered why Black people was treated the way that they was treated. And the questions that I would ask, and they say, you don't question God. I was taught all of the questions that I always asked myself, and I never got the answer. And I got that answer that day in July. So I am thankful to the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad for being able to recognize our Savior, Master Farad Muhammad, who had been in and out of America for over 23 years, searching for us. But it was that little man who was able to recognize him and to tell him, I know who you are. And I am so thankful for that. And I am thankful for my husband, Brother Munir Muhammad, who recognized that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was being written out of history. And he said that it's something that I must do, but he didn't know what to do at the time. And we had just purchased a video camera. And he had always told me, I'm not going to purchase a camera just to be taking pictures or making movies. When I do, we're going to do something about it. So it was a Sunday morning. Munir was always a spur of the moment person. And he said, Amina, get the camcorder. We going out to film the property of the Nation of Islam. So I told my daughter, who was in bed, Gina, get up. And we jumped in the car and we started traveling to the different areas where the Nation of Islam had business and restaurants and newspapers. And we video every Sunday afternoon. And I never knew that that videotape that I was taping that morning would be the foundation to let the people realize how important it was to have an archive for the Nation of Islam, so that great pains would be used to only use the messenger's words, so that no one can say, I don't remember this man. So I am thankful and I am honored, and I appreciate Minister Wazim. He's like a son to me. And I'm just so overwhelmed with this. And this is the first award I have ever received in my life. And I'm thankful to Temple Number 2 under the leadership of Minister Wazim Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's please give her a strong hand. Brothers, you give her a hand. I know y'all on post. Please, we need strong hands. Praises due to Allah. Sister Amina, surprise, surprise, surprise again, huh? All praises due to Allah. As Sister Amina mentioned, that Brother Munir talked about seeing the Nation of Islam, a history that many of you don't know. And I'm always trying to teach to new brothers. And I assume that you the brother? All praises. Thanks for keeping your word, your bond, brother. You know, you have already won my heart over because you made your word your bond. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But thank you, brother. And I want to say, you know, that when they were beginning to write Crow out of history, I mean, not Crow, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad out of history, Crow was developing organization from a mind of Brother Munir, who had relationships in Chicago, which is headquarters to the Nation of Islam, with the personal captain of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The brother said that Brother Munir said to him, brother, how could you sit around and see what these people are doing to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and you do nothing? And Brother Captain Wali Bahar, for those that don't know him, and here in this area, maybe in Jersey, but if you've been around for a minute in the Nation of Islam, if you've been around for a minute, even in the world community of Islam, under the late son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Imam Waterfuddin Muhammad, you know who this brother is. There's a lot of legends from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or great pioneers, we like to call them, of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that are passed on, or some are still present. You know many of them, even though they may or may not follow the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad anymore, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made them great. Now, I can say that, President Trump, or anybody else. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad work not only made the members of the Nation of Islam great, but if you're honest with yourself, those who are listening in the audience, you owe a debt of gratitude to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in your greatness. Because when you were colored Negro, coon in a shine, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you you were black, right? When you were lost from yourself, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the black community that you are original. Now, dear brother Marcus Garvey told you you was great, but no one told you you was original. Not just great, you were the first. And that inspiration and that impact from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad impact many college students and local people in the church and people walking up and down the street of Harlem, Chicago, Baltimore, Atlanta, and they begin to read little articles in black newspapers before the Muhammad Speaks newspaper was invented by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they started becoming great from the articles that they were reading. from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in a section called Mr. Muhammad Speaks. So you owe a debt of gratitude. And it's because of institutions like Crow and young brother ministers like myself. I don't know if I'm younger, I am now, but I'm raising some young brothers ministers in here, that we are keepers of the house and watchdogs. That when you start trying to take anything from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we are training men and women to say, oh, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that first. What difference would it make? Well, I didn't write the Bible. Christian preacher. It says give credit where credit is due. I didn't write it. I'm trying to follow it like you. So you ain't going to steal from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mr. Pan-Africanist black man, Mr. Conscious black man, Mr. Economist black man. You ain't going to steal from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's program and position and what he taught and not give credit to him, because you and I who are educated, we can get in trouble for plagiarizing and get kicked out of school if you don't give credit and where credit is due. But we can't kick you out of your organization. But we definitely can bring your name up and we can tell you about yourself and give credit and then present it to you, because we know you don't know it, because they have made the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name taboo. You can talk about his students now. You're so proud of Malcolm X now. But none of you Negroes around would have ever visited the Muhammad's temple. None of you Negroes never even try to follow Malcolm, because Malcolm was a Muslim and a Muslim follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Malcolm that you love was a Muslim follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You talk about him now because, he told you can. You can mention him now. But from what I hear in my study, you were scared to death to be around Malcolm X. From what I hear, you celebrated Muhammad Ali in your home. But when they asked you and talked about Cassius Clay, you didn't say to people, his name is Muhammad Ali. He said it in front of the draft board. You see that clip? When they talking to Muhammad Ali, and the man keeps calling Mr. Clay, he says, Muhammad, sir. Mr. Clay is Muhammad Ali, sir. Where were you at then when Muhammad Ali was about to go to prison? Where were you at when Muhammad Ali didn't go to prison? And it was because of his teacher, Messenger Elijah Muhammad, when they found out that they were illegally wiretapping Messenger Elijah Muhammad's home, and the government made a deal with the Nation of Islam, and Messenger Elijah Muhammad being the protector of all of his students, even when he was chiding his students to correct them to make all of us do better. There was a deal cut, and he didn't go to jail. Am I right, Brother Captain? In my study, and it's verified by those who were here. Where were you at when Elijah Muhammad went to prison for not going to war? Muhammad Ali was threatened with prison. Elijah Muhammad went to prison. But you don't know that history, because our enemy have not made it fashionable for you to talk about it. Come visit us here at Temple number 20. We'll talk about it. But it was this brother, Brother Captain Wali Bahar, who shares a title that no other instructor in the Nation of Islam can ever say that they had. We have plenty of brother captains of the temple. We have plenty of brother ministers of the Nation of Islam. We have plenty sister captains, brother secretaries, and brother lieutenants, and brother this. but there's only been one personal captain to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he is here in Camden. To be here to honor us in his presence is an honor, and is only befitting that this year, 2026, recipient of the Fruit of Islam, outstanding Fruit of Islam, is Brother Captain Wali Baha. Let's receive our dear brother, Captain Wali Baha. He's been called by many around the nation of Islam to be there to help them commemorate or celebrate Savior's Day, because this is Savior's Day weekend, but brother chose to be here in Camden with us and our family. And he'll tell you why. Look at him, 89 years young, still moving around, mind still intact, and still giving instructions. Ain't that right, Brother Jamil? Let's receive our brother who has a robust history in the nation of Islam. Let's bring on our dear brother, Captain. Hold on. Come on over here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I got to say something. When you're old, you don't have to think. You have to think about what to say. And when you're old, you forget what you say. And when you're old, sometimes you know what you want to say, but you're so old you can't remember what you said. So I'll start with what they said. In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in the name of his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what they said me to say. So that's why I said it. And if you expect me to teach you, he will tell you I ain't a teacher. But I have to share with you an experience of a human being. And a brother asked me the other night, he has to always have affairs on. Where is that? That brother right there. He say, tell me what's it like to serve the messenger, as if the messenger pulled me off and taught me something he hadn't taught him. So he said, I asked the messenger one day, I say, the Holy Apostle, teach me what Allah taught you. And he said, I can't teach you what Allah taught you. You ain't me. And he said, I can teach you what I am as an old so-called Negro, and you, what you are, old so-called Negro. He said, I was born in Alabama. I said, I was born in Mississippi. He said, we got some kinship there. And from that, I began to study him as what he said he was, and study the people who saw what he had become. So what I want to share with you, where I learned the most, was not what he saw, but what gave him sight to see. And in that, I didn't know about the Holy Quran. And the first TV I saw, I was about 11 years old. I didn't know about running water. I didn't know about automobiles. I just had learned about the difference of a horse and a mule in 1937. So I could talk about a lot of things that you believe Elijah is, but I can talk about one thing, he is, a so-called Negro. And I learned that very thoroughly before I learned what he saw. And he saw something that I wasn't and he wasn't. It was what he told me to say, Allah in the person. Now that's how it began. And I'll ask my daughter, Manir's daughter, because I'm not a father. But I'll tell you what my son say, and I'm not his father. And the other one over here, and I ain't his father. Now I call these my sons and my daughters because they are not so-called Negroes. And I look around here, the brothers, I used to believe it was such. Today I look around and see what it is. Sisters, I've seen white before, but I never seen schools raised in a man that teaches that don't teach, and a sister in charge of the school like Sister Clara. And you probably don't know her. That's Elijah's wife that he married when he was a Negro, and she was a Negro. So I mention that often. How much time do I have? Because I can talk about Negroes for 400 years. I don't want everybody waiting. I need help off with them up here.
Would you get tomorrow interviewing you?
Oh, they are? All of them? Okay, okay. So I say goodbye now? Okay, okay. You gonna help me? I asked you to help. Don't throw me away. Sometimes I'm not a comedian, but I don't know why folks laugh at me all. Look at you. Look at the sister. Well, did I crack a joke? Well, why y'all laughing at me? Because I'm real. I'm a human being, and I was never taught to be a human being. And once you understand that, everything else is reality. The belief is over. You may believe I'm here, but I'm really here. So if you believe I'm here, you're lying. So I can't tell you to believe in what I say, because I'm talking about what you are as a person. And can I say this? I share this little rule with you to make clarity where all the confusion stain me. When a female have a female, she see herself as a baby. When a female have a child, she don't see herself, but she see us, the child. So the difference in a child and a baby need to be understood. The child can never be a baby, and the baby can never be a child. And when you understand that root, you get an understanding when you grow up and be old like me, you know how you got here. I don't need to be taught knowledge to understand. I became understanding to be an old man, talking to young folks who were so-called Negroes. Cassius Clay was Cassius Clay. Ali gave him, Messer gave him Muhammad Ali. He went all the way around the world, came back to Chicago, and the first thing he found, the captain said, "You're still a nigger." Assalamu alaikum. See, I didn't say nothing. I do thank you for an honor that I don't deserve. And I asked to sit in the audience because I want to be among those who don't deserve. And I asked to come up here, and I don't deserve to be up here. And I'm getting the honor that I ain't did nothing for. I am the captain, not of the FOI. I'm not the captain of Hamas. And if I ask you why I'm up here, and you'll say you're the captain of what? Nothing. And that's why I call myself nothing. Now, assalamu alaikum.
And if I may, as Brother Captain, I want to tell you why he's special to me, because like he called me his son. You know, when I pick up his phone calls, he gives a lot of wisdom when you understand his language. He speaks in a way that he gives a lot of wisdom in his language. And he too, like Sister Amina, was another one who walked with me through my trial in 2024. And he walked through it every day with me with his lessons that he learned from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and being around in the Nation of Islam and what I should expect, and gave me these lessons. And I could never thank Allah enough for him. So I too am, have to pick up his phone calls like Brother Jamil, and he gives us instructions, and he gives us, and that's an honor to have such a man like he to be here. So that is our FOI and MGT of the year. They probably ain't never been in a mosque in 20-something, 30 years, but I tell you, you never get rid of it, because that process that they went through of going through the MGT and GCC and going through the FOI, Fruit of Islam, it never leaves you. It makes you who you are. And that's why you can tell a military soldier anywhere you go at by the way they walk, the way they talk, and the things they do, and the essence of the person that they become. They say that. Yeah, some people talk to me and say, "Your father was in the military." I say, "Yeah, he was." Why? Because when we had to get up a certain time, he was just kind of militant, and military style. Everything he did in that comfort. Even when he told you he loved you, "I love you." He wouldn't tell you in a soft way. He would say it like a sergeant. And you never leave that. And that's why the training that we go through in mosques and temples are so important now that the fight is over. I know we heard those languages sometimes, but that was because people were fighting. Brother Munir heard that they was trying to exit the Honorable Elijah Muhammad name out of his program and teaching and give credit to someone else. He was a fighter. And when people fight sometimes, when you go to break it up, you get punched. And they punch people who they didn't intend to punch. And I remember having this conversation with him, and he explained to me why. And that's why I understood. And that's why you can't never judge people when they say things and why he said that, because he was in a fight. And I'm glad he won that fight. And we haven't seen an anchor from our brother ever since his departure. And because we all need anchors. And this is why Crow is here, to show you and those of you here that Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad have an anchor. You always have to have people around you to anchor you. Okay, this brother stands up. He wants to do the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Some ignorant people say, "Oh, he ain't the member of the Nation of Islam. He ain't the real Nation of Islam." Don't ever listen to any foolish talk like that. I just told you, you a member of the Nation of Islam. Didn't I tell you that? You just haven't reclaimed your own. The Nation of Islam is 196,940,000 square miles of the universe. The flag is a symbol of the sun, moon, and stars. That is our flag. Unlike the flag of America, that flag is a symbol of the reality that you see every day. The red represents the sun. Try not to see the sun every day. Try not to have the sun in activity to give light and life to everything on the planet. The moon is a magnetic pull that pulls on the water, which was once a part of this planet, told to the world by messenger Elijah Muhammad first, until our enemy went up in space and bore him witness. In the stars you see every night in clear weather. It's your flag. It's your reality. It don't matter if you are in China, if you are in Alaska, Australia, Isles of the Pacific, you will always see that flag, the sun, moon, and star. So you are a natural member, black man and woman, of this Nation of Islam. What is Islam? Now, Elijah Muhammad did plenty of conversations and broadcasts about, and writings in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper of what is Islam. It's your nature. It's obedience. It's not a religion, he told us. It's the nature of the original people, or the nature of God. It's yourself. And that's why he told us all you had to do is accept your own and be yourself. That's all we had to do. And reclaim your own if you think you, son. And reclaim your own if. And reclaim your own if you choose to do so. That's why we say in Islam there's no compulsion, and everybody gonna make you do anything. But the truth is so plain. When it's made plain to you, you just automatically start naturally gravitating towards yourself, right? So it's one of the essence of Crow and studies of Crow, which is the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But they say that this brother, he ain't the real Islam. That's ignorant, foolish people who say that. I reclaim my own, and I don't need permission from anybody to do such. But we all need anchors, a balance. Because you can sit at home and be a TV analysis of what LeBron James or the guy on the Sixers should have did and would have did and whatever. But when you have a reflector of yourself, and if you ain't young anymore, the young folk don't even think I ever played basketball. My son got to talking smack one night. The Nafi and them, Kadir and them, Hafiz and them got talking stuff. They got me so angry. I said, come on out here on this court. And I went out to that court, and I looked like Goofy. Or Mickey Mouse. How many of y'all know what Goofy is? You ever see Goofy play basketball? It was remnants of the old me. And I think where Brother Safdar? Brother Safdar taped it and they put it on social media. And my friends start calling me up, Negro, what is wrong with you? You trying to kill yourself? You better get off that basketball court. You done lost your mind. But you always need, my point is, reflector of yourself. I was trying to be something I'm not anymore. I would have whooped them pretty good if I was younger. Maybe so. But you always need someone to balance you and reflect yourself. And that's why if you're home doing nothing, or if you're home tapping on a computer all the time, alone, that's not a reflector of yourself. We got artificial intelligence today, artificially intelligently telling you that they're leaders and they have followers on social media. Who are you following? Leaders and followers are in the community doing the work of building bricks together. You don't let the enemy give you artificial intelligence and you think you got followers and you think you a leader just because of 100 or 200 or 1,000 people like your video. But yet you go in the Black community. You have to be able to see leadership. You have to be able to be called to leadership, because leadership have to give you responsibilities. Because if you don't have responsibilities, then what are you leading them to? Where are you going? Who are you following? What you doing? You're getting robbed, as Messenger Elijah Muhammad said to us spiritually. That all before him were thieves and robbers and liars. And that's what we have today. Thieves, liars, and robbers and artificial intelligent people robbing you of your space and time. Where you should be at is in the community with community organizations and people you live next to every day, making substantive change in the community where you live. That's leadership. That's following. All of this artificial intelligence and things like that have its place. Yes, it does. Its ability to get to people much faster and travel and, get information. But boy, when you try to build organization, so I'm not going to teach anymore. I'm just going to show you something. Would you allow me to? How much time we got left? We got to get out of here because we're trying to beat this snow. Right? Because there's not too much for one can say. Because the teacher has already taught. Ain't nobody teaching nothing new from what Messenger Elijah Muhammad has taught. Nothing. No one. All of it is at the root of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. And if you talk to anyone, honestly, they would tell you that. So talking is over. Of course, we need study classes and let's read together and get reflection of ourselves. But today, we need a program. Brother, go get the stick off of Sister Catherine's. Sister Catherine, your pointer stick in your classroom, and Sister Anissa classroom now it is. They're right there on the wall, the pointer stick. Because teaching is over. What one more can one teach you? Who's more of an eloquent teacher than Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan? They were playing Crow Radio before I came out here. And they had on Crow Radio, they were playing something from Minister Farrakhan. I was like, can I call Crow and can they play something else? Because you don't want to become behind Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan. And especially in those days when he was teaching hard and strong. I mean, like, and you want me to come over behind that and say what? And people are going to pay attention to what I'm trying to say, huh? So in today's leadership, all I can do is administrate and show you. No more talking about who you are. I'm this, I'm that. Yes, sir. I'm the Holy One. The professor about to teach a class, if you don't mind. No more about I'm the son of this man. Because I'm a son of a man too. My father's name was Jesse Walker Sr. What different? But it's only one, the son of man, and that was Master Farad Muhammad. All of us can be son of a man because that's how we got here. Christ titles, crusher of the wicked. Well, walk outside this door. You see a liquor store across the street. I don't think we crushed the wicked yet, right? But as one who came to start that title, who was the Christ, we claim him to be the Savior, Master Farad Muhammad, who is crushing the wicked right now. The reason why we got to hurry up in this meeting and get you out of here. But titles no more. You can't take no titles. We call the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the last and greatest of all messengers. He brought the message from the Christ. So that put an end to all titles. Yes, we can still crush the wicked in the title. Yes, I am a son of man in the title. Yes, I can hold the title of a brother minister. Yes, I can hold the title of a brother captain or lieutenant and all these kind of things. But the Christ is Master W. Farad Muhammad. Allah in person, the messenger of the Christ is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, I'm sharing messengers, Elijah Muhammad's message, but that don't make me no messenger. It makes me a messenger with a small m, but not the messenger. So I can never take that title. The title, although I can share a message. And we do these things among people to cause discord, and people say these things and want to get these titles. But boy, after you know of Master W. Farad Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's why some of them put them in the background and try to make themselves relevant, because once you know truly about them, all of us become irrelevant, and the only thing you can become is like a star giving light in that flag in the darkness. And I can be the first to tell you, all stars are not equal. And I'm not trying to be equal to a star, but I'm telling you, stars do fizzle out. Am I right or wrong? Stars come and go. But stars can be made again. And this is the time that we're in to be a maker of something since we made it. So we get back and we're going to close out. Grab the microphone. You got. Today, this is all we can do, is implement the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Titles are over with. You can share a title, you can have a title, but you must implement what the title means today. Here is the program and position of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He called this the economic blueprint. Before you can get to all of these of what makes a nation real: food, clothing, shelter, technology, health, and all of those things. If you go up a little bit, you'll see all of these things that are necessary, that are called, you may call it community building. Some may call it nation building. But however, brothers and sisters, if we don't get busy in implementation and stop arguing about titles and who's what and who can do what and who can draw the most followers and who can bring in the most people, who can get the most likes, these are all diversionary tactics from our enemies. The enemy from without and the enemies from within. Because there's more agents and provocateurs and FBI agents. Some people are angry at Brother Minister because we had a former FBI agent open up our Savior's Day weekend with a brilliant conversation about infiltration. And you former FBI agent. We know in your language, your silly language, what you try to imply to ignorant people. Ain't no agent gonna bring another agent out in the forefront. If they're an undercover agent. That's not how you went to jail, brother. Because somebody brought an agent out in the forefront. This is an agent. Now sell him some cocaine. Sell him some dope. That's not how it happened. That's not how you got to where you became or went at to help you to become who you are. So we can bring anybody out in the light of the sun today. What difference would that make to you or me of what someone formerly was before they came into their consciousness? What about you? What you were formerly was before you came into your consciousness? Huh? We gonna all throw mud at each other based on what Negro we were back then and back when? That's silly. They're more diversionary tactics. They need to, Beyonce need to remake that song. She done remade a Frankie Beverly song. She need to, what's that? What have you done for me lately? Who sang that song first? Beyonce need to bring that up now. Because that's all we want to know. What have you done for me lately? We ain't going to all throw mud at each other, what they were then and who you are now, who I am was yesterday. Them are diversionary, military trained tactics of an enemy combatant that want to take another enemy down. That's what they use. And some of you put with your self-hating self. What we miss, many of us miss from this economic blueprint of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. That leadership, and this is to a message to black folk called A Message to the Black Man in America. That leadership first have to be inspired leadership. It has to be a leadership of a people, of a person who is calling people to correctness, which is to them all, to their own self. We in religion, as we use Islam as a religion, because Islam is not a religion, we call it righteousness. But it's just doing the right thing. You need a leader calling you to do the right thing. Because if you under leadership that's not calling you to do the right thing, then what's the opposite of right? Wrong. There's only dualities in this thing. And that's why nobody really want to lead you. That's why I said earlier, as Messenger Elijah Muhammad stated, all before him were thieves and robbers. And he told us in 1972 that was not Jesus talking out of the Bible. This is a conversation out of the Bible. He said that is about himself. Because if he was talking about, the Bible was talking about Jesus, then Jesus' contemporaries that came before him, that means he was calling Moses a liar and a thief, and that he was not doing. In today's culture, you pay money and go visit people and go talk to people who call you as leaders with information that they give to you, and they have nothing to give back to you. How are you going to follow a leader that don't have a place you to go for him to train you into correctness? It don't have to necessarily be moral correctness, but it has to be to correct your thinking of how you see business, or to correct your ideas of how you see community. And that's why, Sister Niatma told you yesterday, she was a part of a community. When we honored our Arabic teacher here at our University of Islam talent showcase, she said, Brother Minister went to her who? Her imam, her leader. I didn't just pull her off to the side and say, come here. And sisters, when men pull you off to the side, it ain't really too good, right? I went to her leader. She was a part of an organization. I didn't disrespect organizational skills and what organizations stand for by going to her directly. I went to her leader and asked for an Arabic teacher to teach our young people here at the University of Islam, so that our young people can learn their original language, so that they can be ready to receive the new book that's coming, that Messenger Elijah Muhammad taught us of, so they can know about and have a skill set in international trading or international relationships of speaking other people's language other than the language that we know today. That's why foreign language is necessary in order for you to get into college. Because you have to think international. You can't think local, past the block you live on. You have to think globally if you're going to compete with other people in the world. You see a bunch of Spanish-speaking people's business coming up in your community, don't you? They don't know no English, but $2, $5. Huh? They know enough to get you to purchase their product. we should do and learn and know how to do the same. So you can do international trade, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us with our people. But before you can get here, what's interesting about this board is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has national leadership at the top, which is someone, a divine leader, calling us to moral, spiritual, economic, social, all of the isms, to correctness of how to civilize, being civilized to be able to interact with people. Because you just can't have an organization and everybody in an organization ain't called to moral correctness, spiritual correctness, economic correctness, how to socialize with people. You don't stand in no man's wife. Hey, what's your name, baby? You in an organization with them. You coming up to a man's wife. Hey, baby, how you doing? You can't be on the man's face. Hey, brother. Hey. No, you have to be called to moral, spiritual, economic. You have to know the correct way, what we call etiquette, what we call, you call it righteousness in religion, but preacher, teach it to the core of what righteousness is, brother Imam. Righteousness ain't just putting on a sheet, a bow tie. A brother or sister need training. Righteousness, this is not putting up a kufi on your head or a military uniform. We need teaching and training of someone teaching us how to act at home and abroad, sister. That is righteousness. And righteousness is not being pious. Walking around with a stick. Now we said some people walk around with this stick, they righteous. Looking like Moses. And we see that with righteousness. No, righteousness is teaching and training others how to act at home and abroad. Righteousness, sister, is what you do in the home with your children. Righteousness, sister and brother, is what we do in the schools, in the hallways of our young people's teaching. Righteousness is everyday working, what we do in our neighborhood with business. Righteousness is training your son and daughter how to say thank you. And someone hold the door, you reciprocate back to them, thank you, you're welcome. And all of these things, these are all teachings. It's just basic, what we call basic civilization. And that's what's missing. We dress it up in religion, but we don't have basic civilization. That's why in anything you do first, you have to have some kind of spiritual leadership of the do's and don'ts and what you should and should not do. Teaching and training. Then after that, I'm giving you this board from a divine, successful leader. You pay money to talk to these people online, and you don't even know if they got leadership skills and you don't even know they have a business. You don't even know that they're doing what you asking them to do just because they put up on social media. How in the hell you know if they telling you the truth? You have to use your visual aid and see it for yourself. Go and see what they're doing. Look at them. See if they got success. See if what they're offering you. And I give it to you by the way of a divine spiritual leader and teacher. How many of us remember Theology of Time lecture? And Elijah Muhammad was calling black professionals to help him as he was as he was taking the nation of Islam to the next level of nationhood. You talk about what's the bank there in Tulsa and the black-owned banks and this and that, and it's Black History Month. But listen to me, now Elijah Muhammad was building a nation with had built a nation, the foundation of a nation within a nation, and you don't even mention his name during Black History Month. Shame on you, black professional. Shame on you, black preacher. Shame on you, black imam. Shame on you, black teacher. Shame on us, black parents, and not give the history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad correctly because you don't like Muslims, because it bothers you. You're still full of self-hatred. I'm giving you this based off of man that was proven leadership. And as I was saying, Messenger Elijah Muhammad said in 1972 in Theology of Time lectures, when he had called for black professionals to come to visit him in what is now Mosque Mariam, but was called Temple Number 2 then. And there was a person who was money, I think they were, what you call them people, investment group. And Elijah Muhammad was calling out plenty of names of people of what he can use, a teacher, a scientist, this and that. And then it came up, an investor. He said, you put your money in first. Did he not say that, Brother Jamil of the archives? Did he not say that, Brother Captain, who was here to verify the truth of what Messenger Elijah Muhammad taught? He said, he told the investor, you put your money in first. Then you come back and talk to me. Let's see what it do with your money. You telling me to invest my money. Do you have money invested? In other words, what did it do for you? How did it make you successful first? And that's why we go to the man who was successful in leadership in the black community in all of his ways, deeds, and action. And I'm going to quickly run through this, speaking for itself. We're going to quickly get out of here, and maybe next week we'll go over this again if you're humble enough to come back and listen to your brother. After national leadership, right under that, he has Muhammad's temple. Why a temple? Why not a mosque or a masjid? Do you know the meaning of a temple? A temple is a place of learning where someone is teaching you something about something. If you're looking for a mosque and you came to the wrong place, even though you need prayer, but I'm going to give you a quick prayer. And we're going to get back to teaching and training under Messenger Elijah Muhammad's program, because we've been praying for 400 years and we ain't received nothing according to Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings, and the reality that we see every day is slavery, suffering, and death. So I don't think, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, it is better to teach a black man and woman to go for self than to teach them prayer. Meaning teach you about the nature of this economic blueprint than to teach you prayer. How we as a people can go for self. Because you can't just go for yourself and leave your people behind. That's a start. But you got to go back and get your people. Because we will never be respected as individuals in this nation until we are respected as a people. And I think every day when you see them coming after our entertainers, our stars, our politicians, our preachers, our leaders, our business leaders in the community, and they have no backing because we are not a nation. We don't think like a nation. Every other people in this country that are members of a nation, other than just United States of America, other people have other backings of nations. If they're Italian American, they're from Italy. Their nation is Italy. If they're French American, their nation is from France. If they're Irish American, they have a nationhood of Irishmen. What about you? African American. Africa is a continent. continent of Africa is full of nations, right? We don't think like a nation. Then we sit back and watch other people in our community that are not what we call so-called American Negro or African American build up our community and economic and use this economic blueprint right in front of us. And we sit there and just walk by the black man or woman's business and go right into their business and spend our money with them. And they don't pour nothing back in your community. They take it out of your community and they send it to their nation or to their suburban town where they live at. Am I lying? You see it every day. This is the reality that you live in. So why not use a universal man who has been a proven leader and teacher and messenger Elijah Muhammad, wisdom of his national leadership, meaning his wisdom is not the man, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's what the man brought to us and what he had in him. Because men are born to die. All men are born to die. But it's the wisdom he received from our Savior that makes it second to none. Right under national leadership is Muhammad's Temple of Islam. Why a temple? Well, anybody who ever worked alongside black people, if you give them a minute to breathe and get through their frustrations of working with black people, they'll tell you the necessity of group operations and group activities, which is a temple. They'll tell you the successes of it. And the reason why I said that is because working with black people, that's why people rob you, brothers and sisters, like the messenger Elijah Muhammad said, and become thieves and robbers and just take your money and offer you nothing, give you sweet words and nice sounds and give you nothing because you was hard as hell to deal with in building organization. You burn the fuse out of people, out of our leadership. That's why they run from it and become an internet leader. Because leading you every day, take the spirit out of it. But that's necessary. And right after that, before all of us talk about this, we open up businesses and all this kind of stuff. But in following these instructions, after temple, supposed to be the University of Islam. That is the school system that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built. It started in Detroit, and there were, wherever there were temples at, the ministers were held responsible to you and your leadership. Brothers and sisters, stop and allowing our ministers, I don't care what nation they are from, what church or mosque they're from, stop allowing our leadership and religious organization use you and your money and give you nothing in return. That's blasphemy. And we're going to call you to account on that. Now, I'm not talking about humble beginnings, because everybody have humble beginnings. I'm talking about the program, especially if you call yourself Muslim, follower of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. We're tired of hearing your talk, your in and out conversation. When are you going to build a temple? And after you build a temple, where can my babies be trained at in how I want them to think? Where can my babies go? Where can my babies and their friends go that you can offer them something of education that I don't have to run to the local board of education and argue with them, as we should, over the education of our children, since they use your taxpayers' money to do that. But guess what? When are you? Somebody give me the time, because I'm not sitting at the desk to see the time. Okay, we great. Get up out of here. I want to say to you, please come back next week. Today, this is her birth anniversary. Today, she is a strong, dedicated, honest sister who works in our community. The businesses that you see running here at Temple number 20, Brother Minister may have started. But like I try to tell so many brothers that want to start businesses and sisters and people who want to start schools and all those things, all that is fine and dandy. How are you going to maintain it? If you don't get good people or get enough capital to get good people, great people to come and be with you that you can pay and support, because you can't do it all yourself. There's a difference between an entrepreneur and a self-employed person. If you have to do the work yourself, you're self-employed. But if you are an entrepreneur, you can employ others while you go make money in other places again. So to those who want to open up schools and businesses, what is your plan? Because if you have to be there to run the business and do the business and do all of that, and that's fine and dandy, and that may be your wheelhouse, and that may be where you want to stay, fine and dandy. You like it, I love it. But if you trying to build a community, you got to get decent people and qualified people to help you that. Sister Shabri is that. She runs the temple's business in so many ways and capacities that you can never imagine. And one of the greatest things she does, outside of being a wife, is that my daughter, from Sister Stephanie, who has Down syndrome, who has a few challenges, now that she got older, COVID made her a little different. And the leaving of her brothers and sisters in her household right at the same time of COVID, she never recovered from it with Down syndrome. She was speaking and learning Arabic. Am I right? In our school. This is a person with Down syndrome in our school. And since COVID, she made some regressions. And I don't know, and we don't know what we would do. Is that Sister Shabri's sidekick every day. Wherever Sister Shabri is at, Wasima, who is my daughter, her name is my namesake. You know, I have a lot of children, but I only let one took my name now. Well, I see you come close now. But Sister Shabri has taken on that task, and we don't know what we would do, along with the help of others. But we don't know what we would do, and that is admirable, because that's not even her daughter. But she take the task. Simi's with her every day. Because if Simi ain't with her, and Simi is wise, brother. She's wise. Every time we try to get into a program, Simi act the part. And she don't want to go to a program, she gonna act the part. Simi isn't challenged as we think she is. Wasima is smart as all day. She acts the part. And wherever she go at, she don't want to be, you send her right back to Sister Shabri. Why? Because she want to be with Sister Shabri. So our challenge is now, how can we make that separation? Because this is didn't I say a temple is a place of learning? Right? This is our community. We trying to figure out how we can make that transition of her as a young adult into the workforce and to programs that they have for her. I mean, she was speaking so well before COVID came. And because, we talk about the effects of COVID-19 to people and to their mental health. What about the people that already had challenges, who are intelligent? And right at the same time, her sister left for college. Her brother left for college. She was the only one in the house. And then they in the house every day. And she's seeing people fears, and you can feel it. You can pick up. If you are not blessed in something, that they say people that can't hear, or that's why people that can't hear, they talk so loud, or they may have whatever God didn't give you, you have a strength in something else. That's why they say that. So we don't think about how it did to them, but we don't know what we would do if that wasn't Wasima's sidekick. She's the only one that can put her in check. And she does it in a way, because we ain't taking my daughter to nobody's program where they got to knock her down and all that kind of stuff. I don't care what Simi did. You knock my daughter down and put her in some kind of chokehold, I'm going to come see you. I don't give a damn what. This ain't a son now. I'll make her think about that as a son. But you ain't going to put my daughter in no chokehold. I don't care what she did. Because whatever she did, it ain't worth her putting chokehold and taking her down. Because if you take her down, we gonna take you down. So to save ourselves the embarrassment, we're glad we doing for self. So let's give Sister Shabri a well-deserved round of applause. I thank you. Real quick, let's bring on Sister Bariah to close us out in prayer so we can get out of here, beat the snow. Sister Bariah, come on up. Young brothers, come on up to close this out. Brother John set you in the puddle. And we ain't had a chance to do the work ever since that first storm. And now look at it. See what happened this way. As we said, this is Muhammad's temple. We are constantly and constantly teaching and training. They have their assignments every Sunday to come up and do the announcement. Is that for me? No, okay. They have so let's bring on Sister Bariah with a well-deserved round of applause. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's give our dear brother minister a well-deserved round of applause. A brother and a sister will be coming around with the receptacles, so we ask that you give a donation of whatever you're able to give to help us to help you in this community. Registered believers shall pay their principal of charity. Please fill out a receipt. The yellow copies are for your records. The white copies are for your secretary departments. Meeting times are every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. We also ask that you tune to Mount Speaks radio show on WTMRradio.com. You may also view it live on Mount Speaks Facebook page. Before our brothers close us out in prayer, are there any questions concerning announcements? Sister Shabri.
Thank you, sir. Of what happens throughout the week. Same thing though for Tuesday, Wednesday. If they continue to close, we'll continue to close. And lastly, I just want to recognize our new sister, Sister Queen X, with her birth anniversary this week. If she can stand and you can recognize her with a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
I leave as I came to and giving words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Can everyone please stand up for the Muslim closing prayer? In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, Master of this day of judgment for which we now live. To alone do we serve, to alone do we beseech for thine aid. O Allah, guide us along the straight path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed thy favors, and not the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they have heard thy teachings. Say, He, Allah, is one God, Allah, He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets nor is begotten, none is like him. And I bear witness, none deserve to be served besides Allah, and I further bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is His true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The messenger teaches us to never be the aggressor, fight with those and fight with us, and Allah will grant you His victory. You're probably dismissed. Assalamu alaikum.